In early 2013, a documentary, Blackfish, was released to expose harsh conditions in SeaWorld parks. This case study follows the Blackfish effect as it moves through the crisis management life cycle.
SeaWorld is running a series of ads nationwide in response to a documentary alleging poor treatment to its whales at a SeaWorld park in Orlando, Florida.
Social media exploded with calls for SeaWorld boycotts. Demonstrators picketed SeaWorld parks and business partners. Stakes are as big as the star performers at the heart of the matter. SeaWorld appealing to a 3-judge federal appellate panel, asking them to overturn an OSHA ruling restricting trainers in the water with killer whales.
Acts of violence by orcas toward humans were documented starting in 1967 by various water theme parks around the world. Although there were no initial investigation into these incidents, research has shown that these outbursts by orcas are brought about by stress and anxiety from being held in captivity, and that in the wild there have been no reported acts of aggression. In 1991, a male orca in Victoria, Canada, was reported to be one of 3 orcas to brutally attack and murder Kelty Breen, a female trainer. Tilikum, the only male orca currently in captivity, was sold to SeaWorld for over $3 million. The SeaWorld trainers were not immediately informed of Tilikum's past acts of violence. On February 10, 2010, veteran SeaWorld trainer Dawn Branshaw was killed from blunt force trauma to her head, neck, and torso from being pulled violently underwater by Tilikum. This event acted as the first triggering point into SeaWorld's crisis and was immediately recognized as a tragic accident. Her death ignited a short media firestorm that intensely attempted to place blame on different parties involved. Almost 3 years after Branshaw's death, an independent documentary entitled Blackfish was released at the Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah. 7 months later, Mongolia Pictures placed the film into select theaters. Blackfish attempts to show the backstory behind SeaWorld's captive orcas. It depicts violent and saddening images of whales being captured and abused. It also interviews former SeaWorld trainers about their knowledge of Tilikum's violent tendencies and leaves viewers with an unrest discomfort about SeaWorld and its practices.
But SeaWorld officials did release a letter in which, online that we have, which called your film propaganda.
On October 24, 2013, CNN decided to premiere Blackfish to its entire viewing audience. CNN reporters contacted SeaWorld and attempted to interview one of their representatives, but SeaWorld repeatedly declined the offer. Media attention surrounding the captive orcas exploded, and heated debates between animal activist groups and SeaWorld ensued. Celebrities also jumped on board the anti-SeaWorld bandwagon and supported the SeaWorld of Hurt campaign. 8 out of 10 musical artists, including Willie Nelson, opted out of performing at one of SeaWorld's yearly outdoor concerts as a statement that SeaWorld should be boycotted. The issue was quickly polarized as SeaWorld fought back with an anti-Blackfish PR campaign, aiming to convince everyone that Blackfish is flawed and doesn't show the true lives of their captive orcas. After Branshaw's death in 2010, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, stepped in and started to hit SeaWorld with lawsuits and substantial fines. The federal courts have initially ruled in favor of OSHA, saying that SeaWorld must pay the fines and that trainers must stay out of the pool with orcas in order to keep the workplace as free from safety hazards as possible. SeaWorld has recently argued back, saying that by banning trainer-to-orca contact at SeaWorld, the government was irreplaceably changing and undermining the premise of the business model. This 3-year battle is still going strong today, and there does not seem to be an endpoint in sight.
The Blackfish effect has swept the nation and captured attention on every major media outlet. Although the issue existed before the death of Dawn Branshaw or the release of Blackfish, it took both of these events to set off a tipping point that gave the issue life. The life cycle of the SeaWorld issue has yet to be completed. SeaWorld adamantly campaigns its side of the story with public relation tactics that include weekly promoted social media advertisements and press releases. However, SeaWorld representatives still refuse to participate in interviews. Blackfish producers and supporters continue to be on talk shows and work towards new legislation that could potentially affect SeaWorld's daily operations. It is still in the critical phase, and until further action satisfies the Blackfish audience, it will remain a thoroughly discussed issue.